Hello, Taos County. I am Darien Fernandez, your Taos County Democratic Party chair, and I want to thank you for tuning in tonight for the Taos County District 4 County Commissioners Forum. This is a seat that is currently held by Tom Blankenhorn, who is termed out, and there are no Republican opponents, so the primary on June 2nd will determine this race. There are 4 people in this race. We've got former County Commissioner Niklos Jaramillo. We have a DWI coordinator, Johnny Rodelo, and businesswoman AnJanette Brush, as well as William Cordova, who are all seeking your vote this June 2nd to serve you for the next 4 years. And invitations have been sent out to every candidate in this race, and tonight we are joined by 3 of them. So the former Commissioner Jaramillo, I want to thank you for being here. Mr. Rodelo, I want to thank you for being here as well. And Ms. Brush, I want to thank you too. Before we get started, let's take care of a couple of housekeeping things. All candidates will have 2 minutes for opening statements, and after that, there will be a series of questions drawn at random from this funky donkey hat. You can find them online at taosvotesblue.com. Get yours today. And there will also be some questions asked of all of the candidates. We hope to keep this forum to an hour, so we ask that for the questions, unless otherwise noted, you have 1 minute each to answer the question that is posed of you. At the end, you will have from a minute to a minute and a half, depending on how much time we have, to provide a closing statement or a response to any of these questions that you want to touch up on that you might not have had a chance to answer during the rest of the forum. These questions have been submitted by constituents, elected officials from throughout the county, and some have been crafted by me, and I'm the only one who knows which question corresponds to which number is in this hat. So random drawings, expect some fun surprises, and again, I want to thank all of you for tuning in tonight. So before we start with the opening statements, is it okay if we use first names tonight, or would you prefer something a little bit more formal, candidates?
First name is fine.
I'm fine.
And ladies first.
First name is fine with you also.
Okay. All right. So let's go alphabetically for opening statements. Ms. Brush, and then Mr. Jaramillo, and then Mr. Rodelo. 2 minutes each for opening statements, please.
Thank you, Darien. Hi, everyone, and thank you for spending some time with us tonight. I'm AnJanette, and I'm someone who fell madly in love with New Mexico back in 1991 on a cross-country camping trip when I was still a student. 20 years later, I finally figured out how to move my life here, and I moved to Arroyo Seco in 2011. So that means I'm new. I'm never really going to be a local, but that doesn't mean that I don't love this place deeply, love and respect my neighbors, and admire and really appreciate what Taoseños have built up over centuries. Regardless of how long we've all been here, I know none of us have seen what we're going through right now in terms of the risks to our health, our economy, and our community. Our state is projected to lose between $2 and $4 billion in anticipated income. And I read this morning that for Americans earning $27,000 a year or less, they might see as much of a 42% loss of those jobs. So one thing I do know is that if we don't tackle this crisis head on, if we don't work hard to deal with it with dedication and new ideas, it's going to be really hard to protect and preserve everything that makes Taos County so special. So I'm asking to be a new voice at the table, bringing new ideas for how to keep small businesses alive, for how to increase affordable housing, and collaborating across local government so we can get even bigger things done, because we're going to need to. As a candidate and as commissioner, I will ask questions, I will listen to you, and I will work as hard as I can for the common good of Taos County, for our land, for our water, and for our families. I look forward to the conversation tonight, and I look forward to keeping the dialogue going even after we're done. And I hope to earn your vote in the primary on June 2nd. Thank you.
Right. Thank you very much, AnJanette. Niklos.
Thank you, Darien, and thanks to the listeners that we have that have come on board to listen to us tonight. As mentioned, I am Niklos Jaramillo, candidate for the Office of County Commission, District 4. I want to start off by saying Taos County is a unique and beautiful place with its rich culture and valuable traditions. As a member of this beautiful land that we all call home, we need to focus on the needs of the land, its people of today, and what we want to leave for our future generations. When I first started this campaign back a few months ago, my focus was totally different when it is today. Given the epidemic that we have now and the current situations that we have with our economy, I need to focus on what is best for the County of Taos. As a commissioner, I am familiar with the policies, procedures, and rules and regulations of the County of Taos. I am ready to tackle the information that is before us and willing to move forward, knowing what the county is doing, what the county needs, and how we are going to protect our environment and most likely, the economy that we have going before us. We have a lot of our entrepreneur businesses closed. What are we going to do? We can talk about the economy of tomorrow, but the economy of today is going to be the economy of tomorrow as we tackle the problems that we have. So basically, today I'm asking for your vote of support to allow me to get back into the office and take a fresh start at everything that is going on and what we need to do to improve ourselves. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Niklos. Johnny.
Thank you, sir. I want to say thank you to Mr. Brown and Mr. Darien and everyone out there for letting me be here today. My name is Johnny Rodelo. I've been with the county for 19 years now. I've worked with different commissions. I've worked with different groups of people that have come and gone through the county. And I can retire next year, so I thought it was to take the next step. What I want to do is work on things like the Greenbelt, make sure we can keep that going. I would like to work on, I got like 100 things in my mind, I'm sorry. I would like to work on farming, getting more farming available for us so we can sustain when we come to things like this COVID. What's happening is we're counting on other people to get our needs, and maybe we need to work a little more so we can have more of our needs taken care of within the county. I want to get I'm really want to get into tiny houses, availability for people who can't afford mortgages. I would like to get in, I'm a advocate for the detox facility because of where a lot of our community needs need to be. When we have people that are that need detox, need treatment, need help, it sends a ripple throughout the county. It goes from families to other families to neighbors to businesses, and it just sends a ripple that we need to try to contain or try to help these people. And I've been here for 19 years trying to help. I help the homeless, the VA, people with drugs and alcohol, and that is where I'm specialist at. And I do work with some budgets with the county. I have presented in front of the council, in front of the committee, in front of the commission. So I would like for people to support me. I am new. I'm new to this political scene. And I would just like you to vote for Johnny Rodelo. And I appreciate your support and thank you.
All right. Thank you very much, Johnny. All right. So Niklos, let's say we're looking back at your, we're looking back at this first term review. Well, it's not your first term. So let's say we're 4 years from now, we're looking back at the end of your term. What's changed in your district and county-wide and every candidate will have a chance to answer this question as well.
What has changed in our
1
in our
minute.
county? Excuse me.
I was just 1 minute to answer.
Okay.
Sorry.
In our county is totally different. What, as I mentioned back in January when I started my campaign, to what we have today. Today we have to look at the epidemic that we have before us. We have to look at the impact that it's given to our economy, and also what it's doing to the budgets of the county as to how we move forward to be able to present and preserve what we're doing. Right now, everything is in limbo. I'm sure just like you people at the town of Taos, we are looking at budget crises that need to be addressed. How are we going to do that without having to tax our people out of their lands and their properties? And at the same time, being able to bring those entrepreneurs back into play and see how we can help them to get them going back again. I hate to see them losing what they started. I hate to see them losing what they strive for. And so that'd be my goal, to look at it moving forward. I don't know what it'll hold for tomorrow. I do know that, we are talking about 3-4 months down the road, maybe 6-7 months, a year from now. That all will have an impact on all of us countywide, municipalities and county and even the state.
Okay, thank you. All right. Johnny, we're looking
Yes, sir.
back 4 years from now on your first term. What's changed in the district and countywide?
Well, what I would like what I was just speaking about was the Greenbelt. I'd like to have more of like a farmer's market, more of a neighborhood where we all gather, where we can, support our needs for food, and the water needs to be looked at as well, of how we're going to use it. I think getting through our this epidemic is going to be the real issue at first. What kind of support we can get from the state, what kind of support we can get maybe from federal. I believe that once we get past the epidemic part and see where we're at and how we can create either jobs or the community coming together to figure out how we're going to get past this along with us. I would say federal grants, HUD to help us out with some support. I think, basically we're going to need support and help throughout the county with our community. Our community is going to have to come together. Our community is going to have to figure out what it's going to take so that we can survive this. And so far, we're doing a really good job on staying safe. And that'll keep the numbers down, and hopefully that'll get us back on track soon.
All right, thank you. All right, AnJanette, 4 years down the road, end of your first term, what are we looking at?
We're looking at more jobs, better jobs. And that's what I envision 4 years down the road, is that we've had expanded service opportunities, our conservation corps, our youth corps, the service programs that can help build our long-term recovery by helping to conserve public lands and create resilient landscapes. I see, I envision, I like the question because I can envision this, what this looks like and how strong our environment is and how many young people and also maybe not so young people are out there working in good work. And we happen to have a US Senator who's pretty interested in this right now. So that's an opportunity. I also see, and this is also countywide, a strengthened food and a strengthened local food system and support, more connections between growers and opportunities and growers and businesses and schools, because we desperately need good paying jobs in Taos County. Part of your question was, what do I see having happened in my district? And I would hope that there are the resources available to tackle some infrastructure problems. We always hear about roads, and I get that. I mean, the road coming up to our road was fixed last year by the county, and it was night and day. When we can fix our private road, it's also night and day. So that and increased access to broadband, high-speed internet in the district would be what I would hope to see.
All right, thank you. Johnny, what does a post-COVID-19 Taos County economy look like to you? And what specific policies would you champion to get there?
You're cutting out a couple of times. Can you say that again?
Yeah, what does a post-COVID-19 Taos County economy look like to you? And what policies specifically would you champion to get there?
I think we're going to be well below average, obviously, right after. That's where we have to work together to succeed in coming together as a community and as a commission to try to offset that. Businesses, we're hoping that they're opening soon, not real soon, but soon, and we could try to get back on track. There is some businesses now that have opened up that are starting to talk, and I've talked to quite a few of them actually, and they're starting to get back on track as far as starting to see people come in again. The second part of the question, sir?
What specific policies would you champion to help
Specific
get
policies.
to that post-COVID economy?
I would like to do more with the Greenbelt to have more basically so that we can grow our own food, so we can help our own economy inside of our county. I would like to work with housing and see if we can get federal and state grants to get money in here so we can get something that I'd love to get involved in is tiny homes, which are 250 to 450 square feet, small homes on certain part of land so that people can afford to live there. And so that we can help each other out a little more.
Okay, thank you. AnJanette, what does a post-COVID-19 Taos County economy look like to you? And what specific policies would you champion to get there?
A post-COVID economy would look like one that has as many of our current businesses surviving as possible. And to get there, we could do things like establish a small business recovery or resilience fund, and perhaps the Altogether New Mexico Fund, and maybe even the Taos Communication Fund, Community Foundation Fund could be part of that. It's also one that to me looks like we have even more of the small businesses, because we've been, over the last couple of years, we've seen a lot of success from, you know, the food companies like Wild Levin and Teography and Bison Star Naturals and Taos Bakes. We've seen a lot of success stories. So what I would do in order to support those businesses and support even more of them would be to sit down with those people and say, hey, what was key to you? What was key to your success? How did you get started? And what do you need now? I would also hope that the post-COVID economy looks like one where the UNM Taos Hive is up and running as planned this August, the hub for internet and vocational education, because that's what we're going to need to look toward. It's like these opportunities for people to learn, get trained, and have a place to go for mentorship, to work, and to learn about the new 21st century economy.
Okay, thank you. Niklos, same question. What does the post-COVID-19 Taos County economy look like to you, and what specifically would you champion to get us there?
Well, Darien, one of the things that I look at is that our economy is struggling right now, as I pointed out. In the county side, we have small businesses that work on a day-to-day basis. Being closed has put an impact on the county, but most importantly, it's put an impact on family members, being able to bring that revenue in. What I would look at is our tax resources. What kind of tax resources do we have in Taos County? And the accountability of the taxes through the government side of it. One thing that I would look at policy-wide and try to champion is take advantage of the federal funding that has been made available to the state of New Mexico, to the federal government, as to what Taos County can bring in to assist those businesses. I know that right now we have either a grant or a loan that we can acquire for small businesses that could help them get going. I would look at making those into grants so that those people will not have to really pay back. You know, what they're trying to do is, like I said, a lot of our stores are mom and pop stores, you know, so the business is ran by them. They're the employees of their own companies. So, you know, that's one of the things that I would look at. But most importantly is be governmental accountability for what we're doing. I think that's one of the biggest factors that we need to do.
Okay, thank you, Niklos. So, Johnny, first random question of the evening.
Thank you.
Yep. What is your vision for increased sustainability related to locally grown food, locally sourced energy, and transportation?
Locally, the Green start our own, instead of bringing so much food in from the outside, that we create a better green belt or more, so that we can basically take care of ourselves, especially if there's a COVID-19 and you know how we're dealing with no paper, or we're dealing with meats being a shortage. If we can get our farming and green belt stronger so that we can take care of ourselves and won't have to reach out to everyone else for help. We can take care of our own, sustain our own resources. And then your second and third question?
Let's see, increased sustainability related to locally grown food, locally sourced energy, and transportation.
I believe in new energy. I'm missing the name of it right now. But newer energy I'm for. It's clean energy, newer energy. I believe that there's some places that we need to, as our farmlands and stuff, there's other places where we need to put that energy so that it's not taken away from our beautiful lands that we have. Solar energy is a big part of that. I don't know if we can get into solar plants or more people into getting into solar with grants or anything else that can help the people get into that situation. I believe I talked to one solar company and they told me that what you pay in your monthly bill, they can get a grant through the state, and the monthly bill that you usually pay would pay off the grant that you'd be getting with getting the solar energy in.
Okay.
So those are some of the ways that we can work on that.
Thank you. I have a very brief follow-up question for you. You have talked about the green belt several times tonight.
Yes, sir.
In 30 seconds or less, how do we protect the green belt that's left, and how do we encourage the preservation and the expansion of it?
Well, first of all, we have to get together and change some of our guidelines, our basically the rules. For instance, the El Prado market that wanted to go in right there in the green belt. If you're going to try to stop something like that, because I come from the courts, so I know how they can get. If you're going to try something, you got to make rules and regs of how you want to keep the green belt and how you how you want to keep the green belt together without any buildings or anything coming into the green belt. But then you have to have and take care of the people's needs that are farther from that green belt or just north of that green belt. So we have to come together and say, we can build here, we can farm here. But why people are getting, what I've seen when I went to a couple of meetings, they're getting upset because they think that the green belt's being taken away. And in some cases it is. So we need to make guidelines as a commission and a community and come together and say, this is where we're going to farm. This is what we need to do. This is the things we need for our community. And then the other needs we can also fulfill.
All right, thank you. AnJanette, next random question of the night. Yep. What business would you like to see in our community?
What business would I like to see in our community? I would like to see more of like the local products, whether that's light manufacturing or food products, the kinds of things that come from our land and are about us. You know, I listed a laundry list of them in the last question, and I could add even more to that. Because that's one way that we could strengthen our economies by, you know, kind of having a campaign grouping all of those wonderful products together as like Taos made, you know. So because we will continue to be a tourism economy, and we are the kind of travel that, you know, hopefully will be coming back before the kind of other, you know, more involved, you have to catch a plane travel. So we'll have people coming, driving from Texas or Kansas or wherever. And if we can support our local small businesses by promoting them as like, hey, here's a piece of Taos, take it home with you. It supports the image of Taos. It supports our small manufacturers of food products, as well as, you know, our other like light manufactured products.
All right. Thank you. Niklos.
Yes, sir. Darien, let me just ask you, my screen just went to, and all it says is Zoom on it.
Oh, I can see you and I can hear you. And if the other candidates could raise their hands and wave if they can hear Niklos at least, that would be good.
And you guys,
And
Yep.
can you hear Niklos? All right, everyone can hear you.
We
So
can-
you're still on.
okay.
All right. Next random question goes to you, sir. How would you address the need for affordable workforce housing in our community?
Well, first and foremost, what I would do is work with the other county commissioners throughout the district and see what is available property-wise. I did mention earlier on in my platform that the tax base in Taos County on properties is high, making it very limited for people to buy in and work with it, even at the county level. I would venture into see what is available countywide. Maybe start with a couple of houses in Cuesta, a couple of houses in the Arroz Seco, Arroyo Hondo, El Prado area, and in the Peñasco area, and see how that works, and see how we can get people involved into it. I would also work with Habitat for Humanity. I'd work with HUD, which we did before as I was in the commission, to try and see what kind of monies are available to bring that kind of infrastructure into the county.
Okay. Niklos, as a follow-up question to that, in 30 seconds or less, how do we pay for those initiatives?
Well, I think at the beginning, just working with the other county commissioners, the city council members from the different municipalities, I think the cost would be very minimal into doing an exploration as to see how we can afford to bring in that affordable housing into our communities and work from there. I know a few years ago, we had the housing program through HUD in here, and it worked fairly well for a while, and then it got transferred over to the northern Rio Grande area, which now work on it. So I think, you know, HUD is a good indication, Habitat for Humanity, and then also working with local and contractors and other people down here to see how we could get going.
Thank you, sir. All right, Johnny. Sorry, I'm trying to read my handwriting on these numbers. That's definitely a 10. All right. How familiar are you with the county economic development plan? And what specifically would you do to push some of those proposals that are outlined in the county economic development plan?
I'll be straight up and forward with you. I'm not real familiar with the economic plan. What would I do? Well, I get with the other commissioners to try to figure out solutions, but I mean, I'm not real familiar with that, sir.
Okay. Thank you. All right. AnJanette, next question. What's your approach to addressing the long-term financial needs of Holy Cross Medical Center?
Yeah, we've just gone through several months of conversations around this. My approach would be to really dive in, perhaps with a more detailed business plan and analysis of community needs, so we know exactly what we need to fund and where. Because I mean, I'm glad that the mill levy is on the ballot in November, and I'm for maintaining that. I'm less of a fan of the GRT increase for two reasons. One, it's basically a higher tax on you if you have less money. So if you're poorer, you pay a higher percentage of your tax on that. But I would like to sit down and take a detailed look, collaborate across with the commission, the hospital board, and administration, because honestly, nobody deserves, especially the hospital board, staff, and administration, and the commission and the community. We don't deserve to have to keep going back every couple of years and talking and arguing about the same solutions. So perhaps we could look at restructuring the lease so that some of the fiscal burden is shifted a bit to the county, like perhaps for maintenance. That would be one way of doing it. But I think that the first step is really close collaboration and communication and long-term planning, so that we don't put everybody through the uncertainty again in another couple of years, because these are the people that are protecting our lives, not just right now, but all the time. And we all know that this community needs the hospital to survive, and to do more than survive. It needs to prosper.
Thank you. Follow-up question to that from one of the members of the audience. Is everything on the table with the hospital, including the possibility of having UNM hospitals or Presbyterian take over the operation of the medical center? 30 seconds or less, please.
Yeah, we would have to, and I would hope to be part of looking at the pros and cons of something like that. The pros would be that the financial situation might be more stable, but the cons are that it's less about local needs potentially and local decisions. But I think that we might want to look at that. I'm not going to say, outright no to any options at this point, but I would really do a careful analysis of the pros and cons of that.
Okay, thank you. Niklos, next random question of the evening. Question number 8. In what areas do the county and other municipalities need to improve their working relationships? I think we lost him again. Darn, we just had him back. Okay. I will reserve this question for him, and when he gets back, we'll jump back to him. So this will skew the order a bit, but we want to make sure that everyone has equal number of questions to answer, and that they all hear the questions that are asked. So when Niklos comes back, we'll give him the opportunity to answer this question. In the meantime, before we go on to the next one, and hopefully when Niklos gets back, I just want to remind everyone that the County Democratic Party is committed to fair and safe elections, and we are asking everyone to request an absentee ballot this year, or to fill out the form that's going to be sent to you from the Secretary of State's office. Absentee voting is safe, it's secure, and it's convenient. Allows you to be part of the democratic process by home. You vote by mail. And if we want to talk about how secure the United States Postal Service is, you get your Social Security check from it, you get your bills from it, you send bills in the mail, and they go to where they go, and that's taken care of. So arguments that voting by mail somehow leads to fraud or other things of that nature are simply false. Voting by mail is secure. And in this age of COVID, it is safer than ever. So we ask that everyone participate in the process and have your voice heard, especially in the primaries. All right, Niklos, are you back?
I'm back now. Sorry,
all right,
I lost my
cool.
signal.
Yeah, you didn't miss anything. You were the drawer of the next question, and I held off asking that. Wanted to get you back on the line, and I gave a plug for for absentee voting by mail because it's safe and secure. So you didn't miss anything, sir.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem. So your question, sir, is in what areas do the county and other municipalities need to improve their working relationships?
I think one of the things that we need to do is close collaboration between each other, keep each other abreast of what the other one's doing. I am a strong advocate of an open door policy. Listening to our constituents, listening to our elected officials, both local, state, and federal, is very key to me. That in order for us to collaborate and be sustainable in Taos County, we all need to be in the same table. We all need to work together and iron out those differences that are there for the betterment of the community.
Thank you. And thank you for being so respectful of time. Wow. All right. Johnny, next. Yeah, we might get asked to ask, be careful though, because we might get to ask a whole bunch of other questions in this. So,
That's okay.
Right, that's what we signed up for. All right, Johnny, next random question goes to you. Where do you stand on the governor's gun safety legislation?
Wow. Well, I believe in the amendment, so I believe in being able to have weapons. I do think we need to work on certain individuals, criminal felons, people with mental health issues. I have dealt with people with mental health issues that have weapons that have gotten harmed by them. So I know we have to really look into the safety of not only themselves, but the community. But to pull arms away from everyone, I don't think we need to go there. And I believe in the amendment. So that's where I'm at on that.
Okay. Thank you, Johnny. AnJanette, next random question. And also thank you for being respectful in time, Johnny. All right, question number 9. Yes, that is my handwriting. It's a number 9. I was born left-handed, and it's both a blessing and a curse. All right, AnJanette, how familiar are you with county land use regulations, and what would you change in those regulations to promote your vision for the district and the county?
I'm familiar with them. They're right here behind me on my desk. So I've been reading through them as well as the subdivision regulations. And what the changes I would make, I would start by listening to what's already on the table. Like we have neighborhoods in the district that have worked for years and put many hours into the vision that they see for their particular neighborhood. So I would start there, like what's already in the works, what's already being asked for, and how wise is it to update and make the changes to our land use regulations that are being asked for.
Okay. Also, thank you very much for answering that in less than 60 seconds. All right, Niklos, next random question. What are the top 3 responsibilities of a county commissioner?
The top 3 are policies, procedures, ordinances, and management of our tax resources.
Okay, thank you. Johnny, who should be responsible for detention centers, the state or county government?
Oh, that's a good one. The state would probably assist us with more probably funding, that's for sure. But the county is actually, what's the word I want? Capable of handling the detention center. I believe that the sheriff's department is capable of helping out and getting things on an upper level. But there's, from what I hear from people who have been in other detention centers, there's certain ways they do run things. And sometimes we are not as, what's the word I want, strict, I guess, at some of the things that we do here in Taos. I'm not saying they're doing them wrong or bad, but Some of the places in detention centers, it's a lot stricter for the officer, for the person that's in there in detention, for nursing. Everything is done a little by the book, I guess I could say. And sometimes from what I've heard, because I don't work inside the detention, but I do hear a lot because that's where my clients come from. That's what I do is probation. You know, I hear things from probationers that, you know, could probably be a little more stricter. And I think if it was statewide, it would follow those guidelines, whichever they may be, to make it a little more acceptable for the community for safety.
Okay, thank you. All right, AnJanette, do commissioners receive a salary? And if so, how much do they receive?
They do, and I believe it was just raised. So I think that the new amount is 30,000. So the answer is yes and 30.
Okay. All right.
No, I can
Niklos, do you anticipate that budget restraints will require a reduction in Taos County services? And if so, where will those service reductions be made?
You know, Darien, when I came in board in 2003, Taos County was in the verge of being taken over by the state financial crisis. We were given a time frame to come together with a plan as to how we were going to sustain Taos County. That can be done again. You know, if I get elected, I don't see any cut in resources that Taos County provides. I think, you know, with a good administration and working with the municipalities around us, we can all come together to continue providing the services that the people of Taos County need and deserve from our elected officials.
Thank you. Johnny, please explain the makeup of a county budget versus a municipal budget.
Say that again, please. I know the
Yeah.
budget to a budget, but what was the word? What was the main word there?
Please explain the makeup of a county budget versus a municipal budget.
Can you clarify makeup? What do you mean by makeup?
Yeah. So where does most of the revenue from the county come from versus the revenue from the city or any municipality?
Well, the city seems to have places like Walmart and all the supermarkets under its belt for its revenues. That helps out tremendously. The county gets theirs from people's taxes, stuff like that, some small businesses. So the revenues that the municipality, I believe, for what they have and for the amount of, let's say, area that they are probably 50 to 100 times more in revenue for the area in which they are at. And the county, you know, from farmlands and stuff like that, which we do try to help out, there's not as much revenue as say the big box stores or anything like that.
Okay. AnJanette, let's do some rapid fires for a minute. And each of you get a chance to answer these, and then maybe we'll answer a couple of more questions from the audience. So AnJanette, what's your favorite place to spend time in your district?
In the mountains, hiking.
All right, Niklos.
The fire department and assisting with first responders and fire calls.
Okay. Johnny.
The rivers, the mountains, just as well.
Okay. AnJanette, what's the best breakfast burrito in your district?
Right down the road, Abe's. Sorry, everybody.
Orlando's.
Johnny, best breakfast burrito in the district?
Yeah, I got like 3 of them, but if I had to just pull it out real quick, I like Montes.
All right.
Burrito, yeah.
Is that in the district though?
Oh, it's just below it's in my district, right? It's my district is Upper Ranchitos. No, it's just to the south of that. Otherwise than that, Orlando's.
Okay.
That's one of my three. All three.
All right, AnJanette, best place to go dancing: Midtown Lounge, Abe's, or the Valdez Bar?
The Valdez Bar.
Niklos.
Well, this bar in Midtown doesn't have that many dances.
Johnny.
Valdez Bar.
All right, AnJanette, what does economic development mean to you?
What does economic development mean to me? It means development that respects our water in particular and our land, and that brings good jobs, which I mentioned earlier on. And I keep mentioning jobs because the last time we were trying to recover from an economic crisis, poverty actually went up between 2010 and 2015. Between 1970 and 2016, earnings adjusted for inflation dropped by 15%. And since 2000, and I found this amazing to me, since 2000, 95% of new personal income in Taos County came from non-labor sources. And that means what? Investments, pensions, Social Security, welfare. We obviously need more ways for people to make a better living in this county. And that's what I would focus on in terms of economic development efforts.
Okay, thank you. Niklos, what does economic development mean to you?
Economic development to me means sustainability of our lands, sustainability of our entrepreneurs, and be able to provide a healthy living condition while preserving our lands. Agricultural lands are critical to me. And as we mentioned, the green belts. So that's something that I would look at to bring in and have that economic development based at home instead of bringing in big boxes or the big, what do you call them? I just lost my train of thought there. The big boxes and those businesses that look at people, don't look at people as persons, but look at them as numbers to be able to line up their pockets while our local economy looks at providing services to the community and paying their taxes in our county.
Okay. Johnny, what does economic development mean to you?
We need more businesses to expand to meet the needs of our consumers. We need maybe more responsible growth and more condition between our more. We need to get with UNM Taos and Chamber of Commerce and business leaders, and to, like I said, to create more green industry here in Taos, and a stronger support for our artists as well.
Okay. AnJanette, what's your position on the Abeta settlement?
Well, I mean, the county doesn't have a lot at this point to do with that, but my position on it is that it's at least in an attempt to regulate water and water rights. And when I think about that, what I think about is how we have to acknowledge, first off, when we think about water, that we're in the, year 19 or 20 of a drought. And it is one of the 4 worst droughts the Southwest has seen in the last 1,200 years. So we need to approach, going back to the last question, we need to approach economic development. We need to approach, our land use through that lens of the fact that we have farmers and families here now who need water, and they have to be the priority over future vacation home owners.
Thank you. Niklos, what's the best way and how exactly can Taos County protect the agricultural tax valuation?
Well, first and foremost, I think we need to look at our land use regulations, and in many cases, we need to slack off a little bit on the tax base that is imposed on those properties down there. It's pretty hard, as a rancher, it's pretty hard to sustain a yearly income while you're looking at a tax base that pretty much takes what you earn in there. So to me, the thing about it is looking at our land use regulations, standardizing those regulations, and also promote economy that our ranchers, farmers, and crop growers can venture into without having to have the tax burden on them. One of the things that I look at, Darien, is that, a good rancher, a good farmer knows how to run his lands. And as that happens, they move cattle, sheep, horses, pigs, everything around to so that they can sustain that land. So, we need to look at that and let people know, let our government officials know that not just because they walk in and they don't see an animal in a piece of property doesn't mean it's not agricultural based. Right now I know that we have some ranches up north, we have some ranches up south that are producing alfalfa. Let's give them a break. Let's talk to them, see how we can help those people survive and keep that economy going and keep that green belt open.
Okay, thank you. Johnny, you've spent your career in substance abuse and misuse prevention. How do we address the substance abuse and misuse problems in Taos County? And what do you do as a county commissioner to get there?
Well, first of all, as you know, I'm an advocate for detox. We need to start from the beginning. What we're having a problem with is the inpatient treatment programs since they're all down south, and that's the second part of what I want to say, but since they're down south, Santa Fe and so on, they only accept who they have in line first, and then us from the north come in after they do. And the problem is I got to wait 30, 60, or 90 days to get anybody to get any kind of treatment. And in those 30, 60, or 90 days, you either lose them back into the community somewhere, wherever they're at. We've lost them in their lives. We have, what we need is a detox, because a detox, what it does is it filters them into those inpatient treatments automatically. They get a 10-day period where they can put somebody into an inpatient treatment program, so we can get them in there sooner. And our issues at this time are not having an inpatient program in the north or upper north, not having a detox. So we're suffering from having clients in jail, coming out of jail, and going back to the streets, to their environment of, doing the things that they do. And we need to work harder on that, because that creates a ripple from them to their families to the community. And it costs a lot of money once you go to jail, once you get out of jail, once you're on probation. All these things cost a lot of money to our community. When if we had a detox, we could try to get these people help sooner and try to get them on the right track, sir.
How do you pay for it?
I was speaking with somebody who was working the detox years ago, and basically he was looking at and has the proposal that's already ready that I'm going to be looking at probably this weekend. And the proposal was there was a tax on alcohol, a very low tax, so that we can keep the detox continuously running. Hopefully that this is our community, so hopefully the county and the town will continue to come together to give assistance with this as well.
Okay, thank you. This is a question that all of you will answer. And AnJanette first. The current Board of County Commissioners has adopted a code of ethics. What does this mean to you, and would you sign on to it?
Yes, I would sign on to it. I look at it every time I come in and out of the building. And what it means to me, one of the things that I like best about it is about respecting the diversity of the commission, that we all have different experiences in life. We all come with our own perspective, and we're there to respect it. And I also like that it talks about our assumptions, that we are there to assume best intentions from our fellow commissioners. And that to me gets to respect, which is what I would be interested in bringing to the table. So that's what the Commission Board of Ethics means to me.
Okay, thank you. Niklos?
I would support it. The thing about it is that us as politicians, we say a lot of stuff, we do a lot of stuff, but if elected, you have to be a professional. And in being a professional, you have to show that you have the integrity and the intelligence to pass that on to your employees, to other people, and be sustainable to what you're doing. You know, we have to be respectful of each other. You know, you and I might not agree on a simple solution, but working together to it can come a long ways in providing the right answer to the problem. You know, it's working together and showing that professionalism to one another instead of being belittler of the person or not following through because that person is less than you know. And, you know, that's what a code of ethics means. We have a code of ethics. Being in law enforcement, I've been in different state agencies, and we all have code of ethics. We have code of ethics on the fire department that we have to follow. So we pass that on along to others to show that we have to be respectful and professional into the work that we do.
Thank you. Johnny?
Yes, I would sign it for sure. In my job now, we have a code of ethics as well, and it's really strict. It's throughout the state. It's for all compliance probation officers. I believe even if you don't agree with somebody, you have to give the respect to them because they're why we're there, we're representing our communities. And when you disrespect somebody, you're not only disrespecting them, you're disrespecting the whole community. And this community is our community. So together, we need to have these code of ethics for sure. We need to have the respect for everyone and anybody who has an idea or thought, and the transparency of it all. So yes.
Okay. Quick question for all of you. Legalization of recreational marijuana, yes or no? AnJanette first.
Yes, because what it would do is make it equally legal.
Okay. Niklos.
Yes.
Johnny.
Yes. Yes. I believe we've got quite a bit of marijuana use already. We've got quite a bit of cards that people are trying to go after, and they're getting a little easier and easier to get. So we have quite a few people in our community that do. And what I have seen, I've had people that on mental health or any other issue with medications that have been on 10 or 12 different medications, and they're how do I say it? Not there. They're there, but they're not there. And when they went to the marijuana, I have seen the difference in them. I've seen it help out. So I think it's a benefit in some ways.
All right, thank you. Another question really quickly from the audience, and this goes to all of you. Should elected officials hold multiple offices and collect multiple paychecks? And this is coming from the audience. AnJanette.
My gut says no. I know it has worked, but my gut says no.
Niklos.
No, I think, you know, if you're going to run for an office, you should maintain that office integrity and not be jumping all over the place. Because one of the things that you do is you lose track of what you're doing. You have to focus on what is before you and that profession that you decided to take.
Okay. Johnny?
Yeah, I'm against it. I think that even this job that we're all going or campaigning for is enough for somebody if they're going to put 100% into it. There's no need for other distractions. To be holding different offices only means you're splitting yourself thinner and thinner. I've owned businesses before. When I've had one business, great. When I try to split it into two and having two separate locations and businesses, it doesn't work that well. And so just from experience of what I've gone through, I think that when you choose a position, then you want to put 110% in there and you want to give it your all.
All right. Thank you very much. One more audience question, and then we'll wrap things up. And this question is regarding Los Alamos National Laboratory. It's one of the largest employers in the region. Many people in the area are supportive of the mission. Many people are not. Where do you stand on the lab's current missions, and where would you like to see the lab go? 30 seconds each, starting with AnJanette.
I'm not in favor of expanded pit production because I don't think we need more nuclear weapons in this world. I'm also definitely interested in, if the expansion happens, then there needs to be the appropriate environmental study. I would love to see, and this can't happen overnight, I know that, I would love to see the lab switch gears to focusing on other areas where we need that brain power. It just happened in the response to COVID, right? Like, they were contacted by the two main Albuquerque hospitals, and scientists at, I believe it was Sandia or maybe Los Alamos, they shifted into gear and converted sleep apnea machines into respirators. That's fabulous. The challenge there is there's not nearly as much money in that as in our military industrial complex.
Thank you. Niklos.
I have to agree that any major development in Los Alamos should require a major impact study on it. I think, we need to work closely with other allies as to how to better protect ourselves and move forward. So, to me, the thing about it is, keeping current and standards in place will assist us in getting that environmental impact study done.
Thank you. Johnny.
I feel the same as the other two candidates. The project at Los Alamos, I believe I spoke to Miss Susie Swartz, and she's just starting to give me some information. That's a $13 billion project, which is going to bring an impact of plutonium in. And trying to comprehend that in our area and our water, which is most precious resource, I think we got to look at this in depth, a lot deeper.
Thank you. Candidates, I want to thank you all for appearing with us tonight. And it's time for closing statements now. And the way this will work is you each have a minute and a half, right? So you can use it however you want. You can make the case to voters for why they should vote for you with your stump speech, or you can go back and clarify an answer to anything, or you can choose to answer a question that wasn't asked of you to begin with. But you have a minute and a half. All we ask is that you keep it nice, keep it fair, and don't ask any questions of each other. AnJanette first.
Sure. Thank you, Darien. And thanks again, everyone, for listening tonight. To try to make my case for why I would like to have your vote and serve as your county commissioner, I'll mention two things quickly. One, I personally would love to see more diversity on the board, including gender diversity. We've only ever had 2 women elected to the county commission. And it would be wonderful if one day that's even a topic and a question that's off the table, that we're not talking about it because it's so normal. We're half of the population, over half of the population of the county. So it would be great to see more of our experiences and voices represented. I have a master's degree in comparative literature, which sounds a bit fuzzy, but what that means is, like, I'm a communications consultant. My job is communicating clearly information that people can do something with that has an impact. And I'm hired by, organizations big and small all over. And I bring that up because I think that clear lines of communication and clear information in the hands of our constituents, in the hands of our voters, is critical, especially now when we are all rather desperate for good information. So I would like to have a chance to bring that skill to the table and see what a difference we can make. So thank you again. My name is AnJanette Brush. If you have questions about my answers tonight or about how I would have answered some of the other candidates' questions, which I really wanted to, please be in touch. I have a website, which is AnJanette #4 Taos County, and you can find out how to reach me there. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Niklos.
I want to thank everybody for listening to us today. Darien, thank you for being there and asking those questions. I think they're critical questions to all of us and to our community. I hope that, you know, some of the answers that were provided by all of us shed some light as to what we think about Taos County and what we want to look, have Taos County look forward. I want to say that if elected, I will maintain an open door policy. I will communicate with the communities. I will communicate with citizens as to what is going on in the county before it happens. I think one of the biggest things that we need to do is have an open mind. I'd like to see, you know, more involvement of our neighborhood associations. You know, they know how they want to run their communities. They know what is happening in their communities. They know how it works. I will tell you that as a commissioner, I will advocate for quality healthcare, road improvements, tax resources, and government accountability. I would also look at the jail management. I know it was a question that was asked a while ago. And I would really like to build communications with federal, state, and local entities, and also preserving and standardizing our land use regulations. One of the things that I also like to see, and we started when I was in the commission, is the completion of our veteran cemetery and maintaining our county resources. I would also like to look at how we can improve our health system in Taos. You know, Old Cross Hospital. I know there was a question asked earlier of one of the candidates, and I'd really like to see that. As a first responder, I see the problem that we are causing, you know, by moving our people out. That's tax revenues that we're listening to our hospital. We move our patients out to Espanola, Santa Fe, and Albuquerque. So I would look at, you know, how we can work that out, and also at the same time be able to get our people from Taos County to trust our Holy Cross Hospital administration. I want to thank everybody else for listening to us. I would ask for your vote of support. I am a number 2 on the ballot. Look for my name there. And if you think that I can continue doing what I have been doing and providing public service to the people of Taos County for over 42 years, I ask for your vote of support. Thank you, and be safe out there. Take care.
Thank you, Niklos. Johnny.
I'd like to start off with saying that I've been with the county for 19 years, and I've seen a lot of growth, and we got still a lot of work to continue to do. I would like Taos County in the future to help out our individuals. In my program, we have 87% indigency, which means people make less than $900 a month. And we need to find out ways where they can have a good life along with living in a beautiful place like this. And I'm for tiny homes, housing. I believe in the hospital as well. We need to help and have the hospital here. I used to live out in Cerro, and to get to the hospital was a pretty long route in itself. And if we were to lose that hospital or have to go somewhere further, we could lose lives. I think that we need to look into the state. We pay state taxes. We need to have the state help us out. Taos County shouldn't have to pay for everything. And we need to get more state help and more federal help. My father is a veteran. When I asked the state for assistance to help him at the house while I was working, they only wanted to give me 8 hours a month to help. So when I talked to the state, they said they thought they heard of a federal grant. So I wrote to a federal for the grant, and they got with the state. My dad was the first one for the Senior Rural Access Grant. And my father was the pilot program. And now there's, I think, 40, and they're looking to get 50 more this year. And what that does is it gave me his first year, because he didn't need as much assistance, it gave him $28,000. Now that my father needs 2 people there 7 days a week, I get $56,000 to help my father out. And that's all through federal help through the state. And we need to look at things like this to help us out even better. We pay state tax, we pay federal tax. And so I think we need to look other places to help our community out. And my passion is my community. I've done it for 19 years. Anybody who's worked with me knows I care about my community very much. And I want to continue to do that at a higher level. So I'm 3rd on the ballot. I appreciate your vote and your support. And I am Johnny Rodelo. Thank you.
All right. Thank you all very much. Candidates, I want to thank you personally for everything that you do in the community. AnJanette, thank you for being a business owner in a challenging time in Taos County. Niklos, thank you for your service as a former county commissioner and a volunteer firefighter to this day, and for your decades of public service. Mr. Rodelo, Johnny, thank you very much as well for your decades of service and commitment to addressing some of the substance abuse and misuse issues in Taos County. There are 4 people on the ballot in this race. We've got AnJanette Brush, Niklos Jaramillo, Johnny Rodelo, and Willie Cordova, who did not make it tonight. All 4 candidates were invited. I want to thank those of you who showed up, and really want to encourage people to get out and vote this election cycle. And for members of the audience who've sat in for one of these forums or all 3 of them so far, thank you very much. We've had tremendous success in getting the word out about these forums, and we've had hundreds of RSVPs for these forums. And in this time of COVID, we still have an election going on, and we want people to be safe, to be part of the democratic process, and to be informed about where all of our local candidates stand. Again, voting by mail is safe, it's secure, and it's convenient. And if you haven't already requested your absentee ballot, please do so today. You can go to nmvote.org or call the county clerk's office, 575-737-6400. Again, 575-737-6400. You can also visit our website, taosvotesblue.com, where we've compiled information on all of the candidates for any of the candidates that have provided us information. And again, thank you all very much for tuning in tonight. We have another County Commission Forum for District 3 on Tuesday, same time, 7 to 8, más o menos. So we hope to see you there. And in the meantime, Taos, please be safe. Hang in there. Let's take care of each other, and we'll get through this together. And I want to give a shout out to George Brown, our party treasurer, for managing the IT side of things tonight. And I think I also, I definitely need to thank my partner, Kylie Ship, for her due diligence in being a timekeeper tonight as well. And again, thank you, candidates. Thank you, everyone. Have a great night. We'll see you all Tuesday.